and welcome back to another week of Scobub Sports. I'm Maddie Nunez alongside Xavier McNevitz, and even though it's a bye week, we have plenty of sports ahead of us. Let's get into it. Upset alert, Coach Prime's Buffs took down then number 22 ranked Iowa State last Saturday. You know the drill by now. Here's Oliver Hayes and Leo Rivera.
Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Oliver Hayes alongside Leopoldo Rivera IV. We are here at Folsom Field after Week 7. The Buffs got an upset win over the number 22 Iowa State Cyclones. It was a very exciting win. Not in the first half, really, but things really picked up in the second half. Students rushed the field. It was a very exciting day. Leo, what were your initial thoughts?
Man, that third quarter was pivotal for the Colorado Buffaloes. Oliver Hayes, 2 touchdowns coming from Caden Salter through the air. He had an electric night finding Joseph Williams and, of course, Amarion Miller. Those two guys had a big performance, and that's ultimately what led to the success of this Colorado offense.
Yeah, no, speaking on the offense, Joseph Williams, he had 8 catches for 128 yards. I believe those were both season highs for any Colorado receiver this season. He had a great game. He stepped up without Draylon Miller and Hakeem Williams in that receiving room, so it was a great day for him. But what else about the offense impressed you? I know that Kane Salter and the offensive players kept shutting off the offensive line, but what impressed you?
Well, they were down a running back in Draylon Miller, and of course Simeon Price and DeKalen Taylor were already moved out. So that's 3 of their 5 featured guys who are injured. You saw, Dallin Hayden really step it up. And I think what impressed me was their ability to finish. Oliver Hayes, so many times you've seen this Colorado team stall out on the last drive of the game where they need to get it first to put it away. They were able to be creative and, rely on that running game down in the fourth quarter and ultimately held on to that touchdown lead.
Yeah, you point out the running game, and I think it was productive all game. You shout out Dallin Hayden, and I think one thing that stood out to me was the fact that they had another huge run similar to that Kane Salter run against BYU that got called back to holding. And despite that, they were able to stay resilient, and then on 3rd and 17, make a gutsy play call to find Joseph Williams, the guy that we shouted out earlier, to pick up that huge first down to seal this game, the dagger catch. And so it was just fantastic to see them finally make a play when Coach Prime continuously, week after week, has been calling out these moments where the Buffs haven't stepped up and talked about even today how frustrating it still is that the Buffs haven't capitalized on some of these moments. But looking at the defensive side of the ball, Tawfiq Byard is a big name that everyone looked out for because he had the interception. He did that with a broken hand that he suffered on that drive. But what stood out about the defense today?
Yeah, he's a freak. I think it's the defense's willingness not to break, Oliver Hayes. There were so many times where Iowa State was pounding long 10-plus play drives. They get down in the red zone. Colorado's defense is able to hold. They force them to a field goal, or they get the interception, or they, force a turnover on downs. The big stops in the fourth quarter really kept the Colorado Buffaloes in this game, and they came up huge. Not only Tawfiq Byard, but linebacker Jeremiah Brown led the team in tackles today, and he was filling those gaps. I know they allowed 250 yards rushing, but in the key moments when they had to get a stop, they found it.
Yeah, I couldn't really add much more than that. I kind of wanted to ask you more about the 250 rushing yards. Abu Sama had a great day today. Obviously, that was kind of the game plan for CU to allow them to not allow them to rush the ball that much, but trying to take away the passive things. But given that total, how were the Buffs able to pull that out? But how can the Buffs also attack the rushing game and not give up that many rushing yards going forward?
Yeah, I think, again, Colorado struggled defending the perimeter, Oliver Hayes. When these runs are getting outside the tackles, they're getting to the edges where these running backs are able to pick up steam. They get the corner, and they're fast, right? They're beating the safeties. They're getting good angles. What Colorado has to do a better job of is setting the edge with their defensive line. Those defensive ends got to have better contain and can't allow the running backs to get outside of them because then that's creating these free rush opportunities. And other than that, they got to keep buying into the game plan, Oliver Hayes. Sometimes it seems like everyone wants to make a play, and sometimes trying to make a play puts you out of position. They need to just do their job, and when everyone does their job in this Colorado defense, they have success.
Yeah, we've seen how much success that they can have whenever they do their jobs, and it will just be the one play here and there that will kind of break them apart. But we kind of already talked about everything regarding this game. I mean, not everything. There was so much that happened in such an eventful 24-17 win. But going into the bye week, the Buffs now have to try and carry this momentum into the rest of the season to try and make a bowl game and things like that. How can the Buffs maintain this momentum with the win that they picked up today?
First of all, they got to rest and recover. Oliver Hayes, a lot of injuries, a lot of guys dinged up, as you mentioned, especially coming out of this game. It's been an early gauntlet early on, but if they can freshen up and get healthy, I think that's going to be the number one thing that's going to keep spirits high and momentum high. If the players are feeling good, they're going to come out and perform good on the field.
Yeah, definitely. I can agree with that. So looking forward to next week. The Buffs will try and keep that momentum, as we said, entering the bye week. It will be a huge emphasis on practice, as the Buffs have tried to do this whole entire season. Dion has really hammered the home the emphasis on practice week in and week out and how that translates to the game time. But given a bye week and getting their mental ready and trying to rest up and heal all those injuries and things, they'll try and build those momentum to finish out the rest of the season.
Definitely.
But my name is Oliver Hayes alongside Leopoldo Rivera. And as always, you heard it here first.
Welcome back, guys, to Buffs Film Review. I'm Harrison Simeon alongside Leo Rivera, and we have a very eventful game to recap as the Colorado Buffaloes executed their most impressive win of 2025 over the number 22 Iowa State Cyclones. Quarterback Caden Salter had a stellar day, but our first play we're going to go over is a run, and you'll see why.
Yeah, we have 3 down defensive linemen for Iowa State here. Colorado sees that. They're going to take advantage of the numbers. So what we're going to see here is a very key block by number 85, Zach Adkins, who's going to be able to come and get this outside linebacker here. And then we're going to wrap Jordan Sean coming down from the left side, and we're going to have a beautiful alley.
Yeah, and you see a big man like that coming downhill, it's curtains for Iowa State's defense. They have the numbers advantage, and that's an easy walk-in, untouched touchdown for Micah Welch. Next play, we have another close to the goal line set, and the Buffs red zone offense looked excellent against Iowa State.
Yes, it did, and that's going to be because Caden Salter is going to stand in the pocket and deliver. As you can see here, it could be a run look for Colorado, but the offensive line is going to do a fantastic job of picking up this 3-man, down front from Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State looks like they might blitz, but they end up going into a big zone coverage, bunch formation for Colorado. And Caden Salter, he's taking his time. He's having a tough time finding a window for this throw, but that offensive line gives him time to survey, and then he flips it right over that safety's head who was baiting him into possibly getting an interception. You look at the close replay, it was very close, closer than this angle might look, but in a perfect spot for Joseph Williams to make such an impressive catch right in the corner.
Yeah, it was a fantastic grab by JoJo there on this one. Here we're going to see a little bit of a blunder from this Colorado offensive line, Harrison. They're going to go and slide, towards the left, but Zarian McGill's going to miss the blitzing defender who's going to come right behind the right side of him. But shout out Caden Salter, who stands and delivers.
Yes, the difference is Caden Salter isn't scared. We see a safety blitz, free rusher right up in Caden Salter's grill. But what does he do? He doesn't bail out of the pocket. He doesn't try to make something that isn't there. He just stands, looks for an out route. His favorite target last Saturday, Joseph Williams, on an out route. Perfectly timed. Timing was very much key on that outbreaker.
Yeah, that connection was key all night long, Harrison. And here we're going to see, what the product of a good run game does for you.
Yeah, it's the decisive moment. 3rd and 17, the Buffs could just choose to run. Iowa State has one more timeout, punt it away. The defense had been playing well. They could very much just trust the defense, accept it. But what Deion Sanders said is that they never even considered running. They were going to try to make this play. And what quarterback Caden Salter does with this play action, as you look at this linebacker here, he is going to be in a Tampa 2 formation, which means these safeties are going to be, you already see this guy flipping his hips, already bailing out to this side. This safety is going to be taking care of this side of the field. This linebacker should be taking care of the middle, but what happens?
Yeah, we get him frozen right here. He's going to take 2 read steps forward, looking at Xavier Hill pulling, thinking it's going to be a run to Dallin Hayden, and that's going to give just enough time for Joseph Williams to sneak open.
Yes, he had an excellent day, over 180 yards through the air from Joseph Williams, and Caden Salter makes the perfect read, finding this one up the middle. We'll look at a second angle in just a moment. But cover 2 beater from Colorado, Joseph Williams with the speed, courtesy to ESPN for this little animation, and Salter just looks around and makes the perfect read up the seam, right up the middle. Joseph Williams, curtains, big upset. Fans rush the field shortly after. That is how the Buffs dominated, or maybe not dominated, but got the win over Iowa State. Back to you guys at the desk.
Fans stormed the field like a cyclone after the Buffaloes defeated the Iowa State Cyclones in dramatic fashion Saturday. The Caden Salter and Joseph Williams connection was buzzing as Salter threw for 255 yards and with 128 of them being hauled in by Williams. In light of the Halloween season, the Buffs defense looks scary, but not in a good way as they allowed 236 yards on the ground. Running back Abu Sama said boo, gashing the Buffs for 177 of them. But in the clutchest of moments, the Colorado defense came through. At their own 11-yard line, the Cyclones went for it on 4th and 1 and came up short, allowing Alejandro Mata's automatic leg to kick the game-sealing field goal. In a slobber knocker filled with 12 punts between both teams, the Buffs snuck out of Folsom with a 24-17 dub.
Welcome into Buff Banter alongside Harrison Simeon. I'm Shane Holcomb, who's once the star around Colorado's campus. Quarterback Shedeur Sanders is now sitting on the bench in the NFL. Harrison obviously had that huge draft slide back in April What are your thoughts on his situation right now in Cleveland?
Well, it's not very good any way you slice it. There's obviously the fact that the Browns are just not good, a not very well-built team. But, there's always the aspect of a savior. There's been the chosen one for LeBron James for Cleveland. Cleveland has needed that next guy that is going to carry them into the future. And Shedeur could potentially be that, but right now things are not looking great.
Yeah, well, I don't know why this guy is sitting on an NFL bench right now, especially when the quarterback ahead of him is Dylan Gabriel. And listen, I know the Cleveland Browns took Dylan Gabriel ahead of Shedeur in this past NFL draft, but in my opinion, Shedeur had the better college season last year. I know he finished lower than him in the Heisman vote. And you look at the stats, though, number 1 in completion percentage. Mind you, he threw the most passes as well in college football, which makes that stat even more impressive. But also the best passer rating, the most passing touchdowns. I mean, this guy put up all the stats you could ask for in that Colorado shirt last year. I just don't see 31 better quarterbacks than him right now, especially not Dylan Gabriel, a guy who I don't think size is built for the NFL. But would you say that maybe the Brown situation, it could be a good thing that Shedeur is actually not on the field?
I do. I think right now they have Harold Fannin at tight end. They have Jerry Jeudy receiver. Not the greatest weapons you'd want. Quinton Judkins, another rookie at running back. Their offensive line is not good. It hasn't had really a star since Joe Thomas retired, and you would not want to see Shedeur go behind another poor line. And while he's been able to navigate a lack of help, I guess, in the run game and offensive line, he's never had a wide receiver core quite like this, where you looked at his reps in preseason and you saw guys like receivers that would just drop passes or fail him. So while I don't know if he'd be the right guy for the Browns right now, I think it might be to his benefit that he's not starting, and maybe wait until they get some more help on that offense.
Well, listen, have you ever seen that graphic or that photo of that one jacket that has like all of the past 25 or so Cleveland quarterbacks on it? Have you seen that photo before? It's a long list. So I mean, Shedeur, his name could be added to that list, but I have a feeling that if he does go on that jacket, some names would be after him, unfortunately. But listen, this guy, we obviously know his talent. He's clear enough to at least get a shot, right? In my opinion, the Browns have to put him on the football field. I know Dylan Gabriel has been somewhat sound. He almost, directed them to a win in London this past weekend in his first NFL start. But personally, I think Shedeur Sanders definitely deserves a chance. And actually, I want to throw you a little bit of a twist here. Opportunity, they just traded away, I know Joe Flacco, the Browns did, so they only have 2 quarterbacks on their roster. This might be a bit unrealistic, but I look at the Jets organization right now, the Jets roster, and I see some options that Shedeur could fill in. I think he could be a better option than Justin Fields. You look at thrown to the likes of Garrett Wilson, one of the best wideouts in the NFL. Breece Hall behind you. Talk about running game earlier. You can cope with that. Also an agent, Allen Lazard, but still a good option out wide. I just don't see any of those names in Cleveland. But what do you think about potentially getting away from Cleveland? Do you think there's even a possibility, though, next season of that?
Yeah, I see a lot of options going forward for the future. You look at a team like Las Vegas and the Raiders, and they tried to find the answer in Geno Smith this year, but he has just not gone up to par. That also a situation where there's not a ton of weapons, but you have arguably the best tight end when healthy in the NFL in Brock Bowers. So you have Jacoby Myers, solid number 1 receiver, and I think that could be a situation where he'd like, a big market for a guy like Shedeur versus cold Cleveland, where the media has really been harsh on him and very much scrutinized throughout. Basically, he's just been there, and he had so much so that he had to mime during one of the times he was asked questions. So. Yeah. He's been very heavily scrutinized by Cleveland media that's just kind of downtrodden. They've been lowly for so long. They've wanted a quarterback that can really take them to the next level, take them to the promised land so bad that I think it'd be for the best that maybe not this year because of their lack of depth in the situation. Only leaving Dylan Gabriel is not ideal. But next season and going forward, I think a better situation, a fresh cut of grass, would do best for Shedeur.
One last prediction on your end. I want to get your take on. Do you think Shedeur will see the field in the next, let's say, three or so weeks?
Yeah, I do. I think Dylan Gabriel, while he has some things, you have to look at his resume as admirable. He's the all-time leader in college football for touchdown passes. He's had a long veteran career. He's a cerebral quarterback that can, maybe is more suited to Cleveland's offense with Kevin Stefanski, but you look at his first few starts, he's had some real trouble settling in. And while I don't know if Shedeur would fare a ton better, I think it's worth giving him a chance just to see what he can do, maybe bring a different element, whether he's more mobile, whether he's more decisive and accurate. There's obviously the factor of his possible mistake plays where you put in a guy like Gabriel, you maybe have more trust that he won't go back 30 yards to take a sack rather than throwing the ball away. But Gabriel is not really a guy that's going to be cut out to be a long-term NFL starter. Shedeur has the tools to at least be, while maybe not in this situation. I think it's worth giving him a crack.
We're talking about the Las Vegas Raiders. One thing before I wrap this segment up is you look at also in that backfield, Ashton Genty.
Oh,
that
I forgot
me really
him.
excited if I was Shedeur Sanders. I would love it. I mean, obviously the prospects of living in Las Vegas, having Tom Brady as a minority owner as well is a big deal. Maybe there's a connection between Shedeur and him as well. But that's going to be all for us on Buff Banter this week. For Harrison Simeone, I'm Shane Holcomb saying so long and back to the desk.
The Big 12 season is heating up as the teams reach the midway point of conference play. 3 teams, BYU, Texas Tech, and Cincinnati, remain undefeated in league play, each off to a strong start with 6 wins of the year. Houston, Utah, Arizona State, and Baylor are close behind at 2-1, keeping them very much in the mix for a title run. In the middle of the pack, Iowa State, Kansas, and Kansas State sit at 2-2, trying to stay above 500 and gain momentum for the stretch run. At the bottom, Colorado, UCF, West Virginia, and Oklahoma State are still searching for consistency as they enter the final month of play. As the race tightens, every game from there on out could make or break a team's shot at Arlington in December.
With just 5 games left in the season, the Buffaloes are 3/6 of the way towards bowl eligibility. In their last 5 games, the Buffs will have to capture 3 more wins but have a tough slate of games left. Of their games, they only have 2 home games. But let's go to Jake and Kush with Folsom Field to see if it's reasonable for the Buffs to get to a bowl game.
Welcome back to Folsom Feud. My name is Kush Karam-Shady. I'm here with Jake Chow, and today we are breaking down whether or not we think that the Colorado Buffaloes are going to be able to qualify for a bowl game this year. Jake, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that the Buffs will absolutely be able to qualify for a bowl game. They're sitting at 3-4 right now, just need 3 more wins in their last 5 games. And based on what I saw last week against Iowa State, absolute no-brainer, especially with one of the easier schedules in the Big 12 in the back end.
What would you say is so easy about that schedule, Jake? I feel like we have a couple hard games coming up.
Absolutely, and I'll give you that, right? Arizona State and Utah are going to be some of the toughest opponents that Colorado has faced. They've lost to lesser competition earlier this year. But when you look at West Virginia, Kansas State, and Arizona, I look at 3 very winnable games against some shaky teams. And you know, Utah's playing BYU this week, the Holy War. Depends on how Utah does in that game. If they misstep, I absolutely think that coming out the bye week, the Buffs can pounce on a Utah team that's looking to gain some momentum and lost it against BYU.
Absolutely. I agree. We have some winnable games on the schedule. However, something I've seen personally from the Colorado football team, there's some inconsistencies there. They haven't been able to pull together a good string of wins. It's 2 wins and a loss, 2 losses and a win. And so I think the main struggle here is just, can they stay consistent? Can they keep that momentum going from that win against Iowa State? Great win, obviously, but going into Utah, when they're winning these games, they're blowing teams out. Something comes to mind. They won 63-9 against Cal Poly. That's something. That's a great game. And their only loss currently, or one of 2 losses, is against current number 7 in the country, Texas Tech.
And again, they've had a great schedule, but I have to say, again, you don't need the Utah game. You don't need to win the Utah game to make a bowl game, right? And this team right now is playing for something bigger than football. Deion having surgery last week, that's huge. And I think the team really rallied around Deion Sanders and Coach Prime, and the fact that he's able to face that adversity and come back after having his surgery. And the team rallied around that and got a huge upset, a much-needed upset win against Iowa State. They're playing for something bigger than football right now, and I don't think you can stop the Buffs.
Absolutely. I think if they're able to carry on with that momentum from the Iowa State win, I think there is all the chance in the world that they make a bowl game or at least qualify for one, get to that 6-win margin. But again, Utah State, Arizona State, tough matchups, and then West Virginia could make a move. There are some games that they should be winning, but obviously no guarantee of those.
Of course, and right now I think that the momentum is high with the Buffs, especially that Iowa State win, but Caden Salter really has been the difference maker so far. I know he struggled. There's been some quarterback controversy in the locker room, but Caden Salter's the guy now. You saw him ball out against Wyoming earlier this season. Yeah, he struggled a little bit on the road at TCU, but coming back against Iowa State, that win, I cannot understate enough how important that win is for the locker room, for Coach Sanders, and for the team, and keeping their bowl hopes alive for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Nailing down that quarterback position has been so crucial for this team. Earlier on in the season, Georgia Tech, Delaware State, or University of Delaware, pardon me, having that position not locked down really hurt the team. No consistency in the offense. And I think now that Salter is kind of taking the reins here, I do think that those wins are possible, even against Utah State and against ASU. I think that with that consistency, if they can get that to that level on other areas of the field, especially on defense, we've seen a lot of breakaway runs against this defense. But if they can nail down those other areas, I absolutely agree with you. I think this team could go to a bowl game, like, very easily.
Yep, absolutely. And so watch out for the Buffs as they continue their season. Just need 3 wins in 5 games. As we head into the bye week, I think there'll be lots of momentum coming out of it. But I'm Jake Chow. This is Kush. Thanks for watching Folsom Feud.
In a turbulent season for the football team, no clear star player has emerged for the Buffs, but Lincoln Roach believes a certain senior player has Coach Prime's most reliable players over the last 4 years.
With Travis Hunter off to the NFL, Colorado's been missing its marquee player, someone who makes headlines for their big plays. So who is Deion Sanders' #1 dog, as the jersey emblem says? It's not Caden Salter, who's consistently underperformed with the exception of the Iowa State upset. It's not Juju Lewis, who's ridden the bench most of the season. Maybe it's Omarion Miller or Micah Welch or Jordan Seaton. But if we're talking about loyalty and reliability, it's kicker Alejandro Mata. Now just hear me out as I make the case for the senior from Georgia while attempting to do something I've never done. Get a football through the uprights. I think I can do it. We'll start from the 5-yard line. From Buford, Georgia, Mata would kick the winning field goal in 2 state championships before going to Jackson, Mississippi to hang out with Coach Prime. These are so bad. While at Jackson State, he'd make 12 of 13 field goal attempts and go 50 out of 51 extra points, totaling 86 points in total. He'd then follow Coach Prime to Boulder, Colorado. Now, we've missed a few, but I think I got this one. I think our issue so far has been distance. We've been starting from the 5-yard line. I think I can believe in myself a little bit more. So let's go to the 47-yard line. Mata would make a career-long 47-yard field goal against Utah in 2023. That season, he'd get 83.3% of his kicks in the goalposts, going 10 for 12. He'd also kick the game-winning field goal at ASU. We got this. Did not make it. We're back at the 5-yard line. Probably the only place I can make this. But speaking of 5, Mata was one of 5 players to represent Colorado at Big 12 Media Days this year. He also was awarded the dog patch by Coach Prime to wear on his uniform. So far, he's gone 4 for 5 on field goal attempts, making a 42-yarder at Georgia Tech. But he thinks he can make the 50 to 59-yard range this year. Let's see if I can make this one. Okay. This is gonna be it. Oh, and we haven't even talked about extra points. At Saturday's game against Iowa State, Mata scored his 101st consecutive extra point after a touchdown. Because when it comes to extra points, Mata don't miss. And I'm not gonna miss this one. or I will. Well, it's become clear that I'm not going to walk on to the team and replace him next year. Alejandro Mata has become one of the most valuable players for the Colorado Buffaloes since his arrival in 2023. For Scope of Sports, I'm Lincoln Roach.
Talk about Mata-matic. With that, it is now time for this week's trivia question. This week we ask you, what CU tradition will turn 100 years old this week? We even give you a little hint. If you attended any home game this year, then you will 100% engage in this tradition. Stay tuned as we will have the answer later in the show.
The men's basketball team begins its 2025-26 campaign with the exhibition match against the Grace College Lancers on Sunday. The two schools are meeting for the first time ever. The Lancers have dominated their competition at the NAIA level, ranking inside the top 10 final coaches poll in each of the last 3 seasons. Buff center Elijah Malone played 4 years of college ball at Grace College before transferring to Colorado. Malone holds several school records and helped lead the Lancers to the number 1 spot in the 2024 final coaches poll. It's the new look Buffs can use this game to finalize rotations before their regular season starts on November 3rd. Colorado will host Grace College at the CU Events Center on Sunday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time. Read more about Malone facing off against his former squad on our website.
Last Friday, the number 24 ranked Colorado volleyball team had a tough challenge on the road against number 8 Arizona State. After losing the first 2 sets, hopes of winning looked bleak. However, the Buffs came out swinging in the third, jumping out to an early 4-point lead. They kept the Sun Devils at arm's length, taking it 25-20. The Sun Devils slashed the Buffs' chances for a 5th set in the 4th as the Buffaloes lost by 2 points to end the match. Freshman pin attacker Ines Losada had her own career high with 3 aces, which was half the team's totals. Anna Burilovich led the team with 19 kills, and Maria Spolaska held down the defense with 5 blocks.
Back in Boulder, just last Wednesday, the Buffs bounced back after their win against the Utah Utes after a 3-1 battle. Utes had the first set 25-15, but the Buffs came back in set 2, ultimately heading into a deuce and taking back the 29-27. Set 3 went 25-21, and set 4 closed out the game 25-19. This is their 4th 3-1 win of the season, making them 15-3 overall and 6-1 in Big 12 play. The team's stats are more impressive than their record. Once again, Anna Burilovich had 20 kills. That's her 7th time this season and got her first double-double. Pin attacker Lily Dwinell also held with 12 kills and 4 blocks. Overall, CU beat the Utes in sets, kills, digs, and blocks, marking it as a successful win for the Buffs. Our very own Brittany Garcia was at the CU Events Center. After the game, here's what she had to say.
Sirs up, I'm Brittany Garcia from Scoba Sports, and I'm here at the CU Event Center as the Colorado volleyball team just defeated the Utah Utes in 4-1. This matchup was super crazy, as the CU Buffs kind of went on a slow start. They didn't really know how to defend the Utah Utes defensively or offensively. So they went in the second set kind of like, okay guys, let's get back on our feet. So they offensively went absolute nuts. So the score is supposed to be 25 to end the match. We went to 29-27. Everyone in this entire room right here at the CU Event Center went on their feet and absolutely nuts. It's absolutely crazy. But we had 12 service errors, which isn't so great serving wise. But there was a post-game competition serving. And no, I didn't come out of retirement to serve these fools. But the CU Buffs kind of didn't really show out in serving. But Anna Burilovich, although she is an absolute queen, an absolute beast, we all know her. She had 20 kills, which is absolute nuts, and she had that arm and she went everywhere. She was everywhere on the court, and Sarah Morton, absolute nuts. She's a beast at the libero position. And we play West Virginia this Saturday at 12 p.m. and they are winless in the Big 12. And we've only lost one game. So this will be an interesting matchup this Saturday, and that game will be streamed on ESPN+. I'm Brittany Garcia, and you're watching School Bus Sports.
There in Boulder might be thin, but the ranked teams are thick. The Buffs are ranked for the second week in a row in the American Volleyball Coaches Association after a loss to Arizona State last week. The Black and Gold stayed ranked in the number 24 spot in the poll.
This Saturday at noon, winless Mountaineers in the Big 12 meets one loss in conference play. Buffaloes at the CU Event Center. West Virginia and the Buffaloes only had one meeting against each other, being last season, which resulted in a CU loss. This time around, we'll look at a bit different with stars such as Anna Barilovic and Sarah Morton dominating their respective positions. The game will be streamed on ESPN Plus and will be at 12 p.m. Mountain Time.
On Wednesday, the Buffs will travel to Lubbock, Texas to face up against Texas Tech. In their last 7 matchups between the Buffaloes and the Red Raiders, the Black and Gold have dominated in every matchup with a 6-1 record. While Colorado is 6-1 in conference play, the Red Raiders are winless in the Big 12. But to gain a win over Texas Tech, CU needs their defense to stay on their feet to cover the floor when Texas Tech star Reagan Engler is in the outside position.
Last Friday, the number 24 Buffs turned in a true 10 out of 10 performance on 10-10. The Buffs shut out Arizona State 2-0 at Putnam Field. Reagan Kotsha opened the scoring in the 39th minute with a diving header off of Kaylee Swearina. Set piece and Jace Hawley sealed the deal in the second half with a pass from Maddie Sharer. Jordan Knight stood tall in the net, recording 6 saves as Colorado outshone the Sun Devils 27-9. The Buffs improved 4-1-1 in Big 12 play and 10-2-2 overall, marking their 3rd straight season with double-digit wins.
Women's soccer took down Utah 2-1 in a hard-fought battle. The Buffaloes had a 2-goal advantage and fought off Utah's comeback effort in the final 15 minutes. Head coach Danny Sanchez said, "I thought we could be a little bit sharper." This win pushes the Buffaloes into a tie atop the Big 12 standings. Looking ahead, Colorado will head to BYU on October 20th to take on the Cougars.
For the 8th time in her career, shortstopper Jordan Knights has been named Big 12 Goalkeeper of the Week. Knights earned the honor after her clean sheet performance last week against ACU, which she saw a save of all 6 shot frames last season. She earned the award 5 times en route to a Big 12 Keeper of the Year win. Knights now holds the record for the most Goalkeeper of the Week award since it was started in the 2020-21 season.
With all these positive results, women's soccer is ranked 10th in the nation. The D1 committee's top 16 puts the Buffs 10-2 Buffs just above Michigan State. The Buffs opened their season with a tie against the Spartans. As of this week, the United Soccer Coaches poll has the Buffs tied with Vanderbilt for 21st in the rankings.
The high motor Buffs offense will go on to the road to Provo to take on the BYU Cougars. BYU 7-4-2 and is 10th in the Big 12. The Buffs sit at 5th. In the last match in 2022, the teams tied 2-2. Kickoff is set for 6 p.m. Mountain Time on Monday.
The battle in the Big 12 rages on as the Buffs host Texas Tech Raiders next Thursday. Last year, the Buffs and Raiders tied 1-1 in Lubbock, Texas, and Texas Tech is 4-0-2 in Big 12 play and 10-1-2 overall. The Raiders' defense has found success keeping the ball out of the net this season. Hope Leba and the Colorado offense will look to break it. Kickoff is set from Prince Up Field at 7 p.m.
Welcome to Folsom Feud. I'm your host, Colby, here with 3 contestants today, Lincoln, Balin, and Kieran. Lincoln, start us off.
I'll take game day etiquette for 200.
All right. This is the best way to show respect during the CU fight song.
What is standing, singing loud, and raising your hand in the hook 'em horn sign?
Not what we're looking for. Balin, you have an answer?
What is stand up, sing loud, and do the Ralphie horns?
Correct. Balin, the board is yours.
Give me tailgate traditions for 400.
All right, here's the answer. The must-have item to wear on game day to show your Buff pride. Kieran?
What is black and gold?
That's correct. Nothing says school spirit like those 2 colors. Choose the next one.
Let's do fan etiquette for 600.
Fan etiquette. The proper response when you hear someone yell, "Go Buffs."
What is Skull Buffs?
Skull Buffs is right. Looks like we've got some true Buffs fans here. But thank you all for tuning in. Thank you to our contestants, and see you next time.
The tennis team rounded out the ITA Mountain Regionals tournament last weekend. The highlight of the tournament was Diederik van der Werf and Leah Alexen, who made it to the semifinals, but they could not get the win to advance to the double championship. The team will now get another 2-week break before traveling to Denver for the Pioneers Hidden Duels on October 24th.
The women's golf squad began the first round of the Stanford Intercollegiate earlier today. The team has been on a tear to start the season, finishing inside the top 2 in 2 out of 3 tournaments this year. They are ranked 52 in the nation, yet are still one of the lowest ranked teams competing in Palo Alto, California. 7 out of the 19 teams are at the tournament are ranked inside the top 15, and 5 are ranked inside the top 10. Competing against the number 2 ranked USC, number 3 Stanford, and number 4 Oregon will not be an easy task for the Buffs. Colorado will have to consistently shoot under par to have a chance at a podium finish. The tournament will finish over the weekend with the second and third rounds to be played on Saturday and Sunday.
The men's golf team finished second in the Visit Stockton Pacific Invitational this past weekend. Host Pacific shot a 25 under par 263, breaking the tie with the Buffs and seizing the lead with a score of 539. The Buffs achieved a second straight 12 under 27 and 6 despite a slow start. Junior Brandon Knight led the Buffalo charge, shooting a 4 under 68 for a 90 under 135, securing his best collegiate career score for 36 holes. Colorado will play in Kaanapali Classic Collegiate on October 27th through 29th in Maui, Hawaii, marking the final tournament on their fall schedule.
Last Sunday, the club baseball team swept the Wyoming Cowboys across 2 games. The Buffs exploded for 33 runs in Game 1 and were able to handle business in Game 2 to continue their successful fall season. The squad gets a well-deserved break this weekend before heading to Fort Collins, yucky, for 2 games against Colorado State.
Attention hockey fans, Buff Puck is finally back in Boulder. The women's team will host their home opener against the Michigan State Spartans in a rare Monday night face-off. The Buffs currently sit at number 18 in the nation with a 5-3 and 1 overall record. Not far behind are the Spartans, who hold the number 14 slot and are 6-4 and 2. Head on down to the CU Rec Center or catch the action live right here on ScoBuff Sports.
The men's club soccer team and Team White and Team Gold will look to keep their undefeated streaks alive this weekend. Team White takes on Colorado Christian tonight at 5 at Kittredge Field and then travels to Aurora to play CU Denver on Saturday at 7:30. Team Gold plays in a rivalry game against CSU once again in Fort Collins on Sunday at 3. Team Black will look to bounce back from a draw against Mines last weekend with a match against Colorado Mesa and Grand Junctions on Sunday at 3. A lot of games at 3. The women's club soccer team has only 2 teams in action this week as Team Gold is on a bye. Team Black and Team Silver play each other tonight at 7, and then both teams will hit the road. Team Silver plays at Colorado Mesa at 1 on Saturday, and then Team Black heads to the Springs to play UCCS at 12:30 on Sunday.
Hey Buff fans, I'm Kieran Walker bringing you this week's top 5 plays in Colorado sports. We had some interesting ones this week, but only in 2 sports, so we're going to dive right in with our number 5 pick this week. We go to Scott Carpenter Park, where the Colorado Buffaloes are taking on the Wyoming Cowboys. Nate Hoffman up to the plate. He bats this one deep into left field, and that ball is gone, baby. Racing for it was the left fielder, but he could not get there in time as that was snuck just over the fence deep into left field. Absolutely amazing play. That is why he's the president. Let's stay at baseball for number 4. It's Finn Simone's up to the plate now. This one's once again batted deep into left field, and the left fielder's not even going to chase that one down because he knew that one was gone right from the get-go, the bottom of the first inning, and Colorado already holding a commanding lead over the Cowboys. Let's go to number 3. Not quite sure what we have here for this pick. Wait. 33-3, Colorado? Is this football? I thought we were still at Scott Carpenter for baseball, man. Football was played the previous day against Iowa State. Speaking of that game, we have a pick for our number 2 slot this week. Now, Caden Salter dropping back, rifling it downfield. He's got a wide open Omarion Miller who catches it at the 34-yard line and racing into the end zone for an incredible 70-yard touchdown, baby. And an electric play for the Buffs, who regain the lead in the 3rd quarter. Let's stay at football for number 1 this week. This time it's the 4th quarter. Iowa State has the ball. And a one-handed pick for Tawfiq Bayard. Mind you, he has a cast in his left hand. If that isn't play of the year, folks, I don't know what is. Forget play of the week. Make that SportsCenter top 10, baby. Top 5, in fact. That's going to do it for our Plays of the Week this week here on ScoBuff Sports. I'm Kieran Walker, wishing you a wonderful weekend.
Here we see Xavier McNevitz working on his reader for the live show. If we didn't have these readers done by Thursday night, chances are we would not be airing this show right now. Be like Xavier. Get your readers done. And don't forget to click save so that you don't lose any of your hard-earned work.
Happy Friday, Buffs. Folsom Field has different plans for this weekend, so no football for us. No worries though, there's still plenty of action for your weekend. Women's golf is at the 2025 Stanford Intercollegiate Tournament with 3 rounds on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so wish them luck in California. Then on Saturday afternoon, head up to the CU Event Center to watch our volleyball team serve West Virginia a new loss or stream live on ESPN Plus, set to start at noon. Speaking of, same time and place on Sunday for our first look at the men's basketball team as they play Grace College for an exhibition matchup. Regular season tips off in just a few weeks, so go and take a sneak peek. On the ice, the men's hockey team has a doubleheader against the University of Central Oklahoma's Bronchos, dropping the puck at 6:05 Mountain Time, both tonight and tomorrow. And then finally, don't miss out on the women's hockey team versus Michigan State right here on ScoBuff Sports, streaming Monday at 5:30. That's your rapid fire. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Back to you at the desk.
It's time to reveal the answer to this week's trivia question. Earlier we asked you what CU tradition will be turning 100. The answer is, drumroll please, the CU fight song. The fight song was originally written for Culver Military Academy in Indiana, but Richard Durrett, when he came to CU to become a music professor, he brought the song with him and changed the first line from Fight Culver Down the Field to Fight CU Down the Field. The song was first played for CU on October 22nd, 1925, and it quickly became a hit at Colorado. It has been a beloved staple of CU sports and games ever since.
As fans rushed the field, one of them got absolutely clotheslined by the falling field goal post. In viral tweet, you can hear the fan crying for help as he stayed stuck under the post for more seconds than I'm sure he would like. Shout out to the cameraman for not helping the poor guy. We all appreciate the camera angle. I'm Xavier McNevitz, and thank you for watching this week's live show. For Maddie Nunez, you
heard it here first.